So I was on Pinterest the other day looking for ideas for my Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and of course, Pinterest is going to show me things that it thinks that I like based on its algorithm. And it must have pretty good analytics on me because it showed me Pirates of the Caribbean characters sorted into their Hogwarts houses, and I'm a big sucker for that kind of thing. And I agreed with almost every pick on this particular pin. Jack is a Slytherin, the way he constantly sells out his friends for his own gain, and his desire to maintain his freedom above all else, his wittiness and cunning, all Slytherin traits. Will is a Gryffindor, Tia Dalma's a Ravenclaw, Davy Jones is a Slytherin. Wait, what? How? Did we even watch the movies, people? Davy Jones is not a Slytherin. And before you jump down in the comments and bash me, hear me out. Sure, Jones makes deals to bind people to serve him on the Flying Dutchman until they become a literal part of the ship. And that sounds evil and a bit Slytherin-ish in the Tom Riddle style of being a Slytherin. And he controls the Kraken, and Tom Riddle controlled the giant magical creature too. But stopping there completely ignores that Dumbledore had a pet phoenix, Ron's brother studied dragons, and Newt Scamander specializes in magical creatures. So to figure out what house Davy Jones really is, you gotta ask yourself this question. How did Davy Jones end up being captain of the Flying Dutchman and having this eldritch power over sailors he's kidnapped at sea and control over the Kraken? Was it because he was a cutthroat? No. Was it because he struggled through great personal trials in order to gain power and glory? No. Did he do it to gain knowledge? No. Did he do it to show his outstanding bravery and chivalry? No. He became the monster he is because he's a man betrayed by the person he loves most in the world. Now, this is the part where you either remember watching the movies or you're going to demand evidence. So here's my breakdown. In Dead Man's Chest, the first time we get any information about Jones is in Tia Dalma's shack, where we learn that Jones was in love with a woman, and the pain of not living with her was so great he cut out his own heart. This suggests that Jones has traits consistent with a Hufflepuff. And the first time we see Jones, like actually on screen, he's claiming souls from a ship destroyed by the Kraken. Will arrives at Jack's request to settle his debt to Jones. Jones confronts Jack and gives him 3 days to find 99 souls. In the next scene with Jones, he forces Bootstrap to whip Will with the cat as punishment for dropping the cannon on the deck. And the look in Jones's face is not that of sadistic pleasure. It actually looks like it's painful for him to watch. Now, maybe I'm just misreading Bill Nye's acting, but I don't think so. The next time we see Jones is when Will challenges Jones to a game of liar's dice. Will bets a lifetime of service against the key to the chest that contains the heart of Davy Jones. And it's with this scene that we get to the heart of the movie. The entire film revolves around the heart of Davy Jones. The broken heart of Davy Jones. Will asking for the key, should he win, causes Jones to hesitate. But if his men are going to continue to respect him, he has to agree. And he has to win, because if he doesn't, it could mean his death. But in order to not appear weak, he agrees to the game, and he wins. But Will got what he wanted. He just wanted to know where the key was. Clever man. Of course, Jones keeps the key close to his chest. A cold metal replacement for what was once flesh and blood. Then Will attempts to steal the key while Jones is asleep. And it's in this scene that we see the music box for the first time. But it is not the last time. This scene establishes the music box as a metaphor for the rest of the franchise that has him in it. But we don't know what the metaphor is just yet. Now, the rest of this particular movie, Dead Man's Chest, doesn't give us any more information about Jones's backstory. And that's not a knock on the movie, because it's done everything it needs to do to establish what's going to happen for the rest of the movie. So now we just need to pick up at World's End. In this installment, this one is the one where we get the rest of Jones's backstory. But first it recaps a little. The first shot with Davy Jones is him alone at his organ. Which, by the way, this is kind of interesting that the instrument he plays is an organ when he's literally missing an organ. But anyway, he's listening to the music box and he starts crying out, and then he yells out in rage. Seems like he might still be in love and hate himself for it a little bit. So then Teodalma gives us more exposition when she reveals that Jones was charged with ferrying souls to the next world and that he wouldn't be able to step on land but once every 10 years. To see the person that loved him most in the world, no less. Now we have some new information. Jones was given a job. Souls lost at sea end up in the locker, Davy Jones's locker. And this is a place of torment and torture. Jones was supposed to look after these people and bring them to a better place. That's what it seems like anyway. However, we now know that he's neglecting this job. Later on, we see Jones with Will and Lord Beckett at what I'm going to call tea time. In this scene, Jones claims that Calypso pretended to love him. If you don't remember, Teodalma is Calypso. This is a rather vague explanation, though, and he couples that by admitting that he told the first brother in court how to bind her to a human form. The next scene with Jones is where he and Calypso meet again for the first time after a long time. And now the rest of the pieces of the puzzle get put into place. And the movie's still kind of vague, but if you're paying attention and you've got all the info from both movies, you can put together a timeline that makes the most sense. And to me, the story goes a little something like this. Jones fell in love with Calypso, a goddess of the sea, and she loved him back. She charged him supposedly because she trusted him, but it's not explained really, with ferrying souls lost at sea to the next life. He did the job dutifully for 10 years, and when he came back to land to see her, she wasn't there. And this is when Jones cuts out his heart in a suicide attempt. But because of the power that he's been given by Calypso, he can't die in this manner. So in his rage and self-pity, he chooses to spit in the face of what Calypso asked him to do and refuses to ferry the souls, and instead preys upon them. All of this shows Jones in his heart of hearts is actually a Hufflepuff who was so incredibly hurt by the person that he loved most, he became a villain. He even admits to still loving her in this scene despite everything. He still has the music box. He still longs for things to be the way they once were. Calypso states that before Jones's turn, he was many things but never cruel. That gets back to the scene with Bootstrap whipping Will. He's not a cruel person by nature. It's why that was hard for him to make Bootstrap do. And even Jones's last words are exactly what you would expect for a Hufflepuff. He simply says Calypso as he dies, the name of the person that he loves most in the world. So I guess my point is that a Slytherin isn't the only house that can turn bad, and it may take a lot for somebody in another house to turn bad, but it still happens, even in Harry Potter's own universe. Pettigrew was a Gryffindor. Lockhart was a Ravenclaw. So the next time you're sorting heroes and villains in the Hogwarts houses, don't simply assume that the villain has to be a Slytherin. Look at their motivation. What is it that drives them to their villainy? It's not always for personal gain or ambition or pride. In Jones's case, it's all in the name of scorn, because he felt betrayed by who he loved most. And I think that's a tragedy that we can all learn from. Well, if you've stuck with me this long, hopefully you liked the video. If you like something like this, let me know so I can make more stuff like this. I have some other projects that are more detail-oriented and research-based that I'll be putting on here soon, but if you like content like this, the more nerdy side of things, let me know and I can certainly line up more of this kind of thing. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks.